Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you on a sketchbook tour through my most experimental sketchbook yet. I'm not sure how long this video will be. It's a nice dinky little sketchbook from Kangaroo. It's small, as you can see. I will leave a link to it below. If you want to get one yourself, it's like €3.20 I think I pay for mine. But yeah, let's go through it. So I started this sketchbook in October and I completed it on the 29th of December, so just over 2 months. And I started it with people during a trip to the UK. So this is a very simple, I can't talk today. I've had multiple coffees. Very simple sketch. So I just have like a simple bit of Posca, and then this was a lady at the bus stop who looked nothing like this, but I was pointing around. This was on a bus journey. I think I have some of these linked, or I've shared some of these in a sketchbook recap for, I think it was People Month, maybe September or October. I'll leave that linked here so you can see that. But this was a page of people that I drew from the bus. I was on the top deck of a double-decker bus back in the UK and quickly captured these people as the bus drove through a town. This was a lady passenger opposite me. Can't remember this lady, maybe at the bus stop. This is my dad, and the reason I said that this is my most experimental sketchbook yet is because of the amount of playing and experimenting that I did in this sketchbook. So this is all Neocolor ones, which is unusual for me to use. Yeah, this was pencil in the way that I have with like negative space. The composition I really enjoyed. This was a combination of pink Posca, line art. The line work was done in pencil. I think this was my extra soft Pitt oil-based pencil. And then this was, again, this might have been Neocolor 2 over the top of wax pencil. Oil pencil. And again, so my dad. This one was oil pastels, which I've started to get back into towards the end of last year. Really enjoyed this, playing around with the texture. This doesn't look anything like my dad, but I'm having great fun experimenting. This was a page from a book that I had purchased to do with dolls. I hope you can see that okay. The light's a bit squizzy at the moment. Another one of my dad using, this is the Hematite Genuine, I think, from Daniel Smith, and then the rest is Gouache from my Gouache kit, and then I went over it with pencil, and this is again Gouache. Sometimes I think it's Posca, but I'm pretty sure that's Gouache because of the way that it's merging. Thinking about layering textures, putting a Posca over the pencil, being more scrappy with my color pencils. This was in December. So my pages are never consecutive. Sometimes I jump back and forth depending on what I intend to do. So this is a Gouache base that I had intended to do a multiple, like a crowd scene. And I hadn't done that. And on the train to Swallow, I drew my other half, using the base as the color for his jacket as the negative space and then working around it. This again, more experimental stuff. This was the Pentel pen, this one which I've shared before, and then I went over it with Neocolor, I think. Oh, here, acrylic ink, acrylic and NC1s, the acrylic being acrylic marker. And this was at an airport departure gate. This was from the Emma Malioker, never know how to say her surname, Cozy Winter Gouache course. And she encouraged us to play with some wet on wet techniques. So I did the tree in here, and then I attempted a portrait that turned out very bizarre. And then we have another one of my dad in oil pastel, but straight up oil pastel, no like mixing it with mineral spirit or anything. Here's some simple pencil drawings, line art, line work. My dad, another person at the airport, the train station. This is a character from a book. It was a photo from a very old book that not that old, I guess, that I mostly made up. I got the outline in, and then the trees in the background are made up. This is a farmer man. Again, we've got some brush pen, I think, and then this is scratchy, like I might have put acrylic marker down here and then pencil on top. Lots of different layers of materials, not lots of layers, but playing with different materials, layering them. This one too had a pink base. Then I've gone over it with something lighter, and then I've drawn on top of that a self-portrait of sorts. This was again transparent layers. So this is a path, church, hill, trees, again from Emma Malioka's course. A self-portrait with ink and then pencil, and this is, I think that's probably the pink Posca again on top and then pencil on top. I really like the texture. I really like the texture here. I wish I remember how I did it though. I need to make more notes. Self-portrait, a drawing of David. He actually really likes that one. He also doesn't look anything like that. Playing around with layers below and layering on top with different materials. So this was all using soft pastel. So this, I smudged it with my finger. This one I smudged it with a paintbrush. This one I used the soft tool, and this one I used the, what it says, hatched tool. I don't know what that means because I obviously didn't make enough notes. And then I've done the same material on top of each one. So we have Colour Soft, we have Derwent Lightfast, we have the extra soft pick pencil, Lightfast, Polychromos, and it's surprising there's not a Holbein in there. A DP is Derwent Pastel. There must be pastel there. Here we go. So this yellow colour is the Colour Soft, and then the line work on top is Derwent Lightfast. And just looking at how they layer, playing around with that. This is another portrait with, I think it must be Gouache in the bath, or it's probably Neocolor actually, and then because I can see the pencil line, or watercolor pencil, and I smushed it out. And simple pencil drawing. I think this was a smudge on the page and I tried to turn it into something and failed. This is a farmer man from a book that I was working from. We've mixed two colors, a Polychromos 157, and I can't see what that says, but it might have been the lime green or the luminous from Holbein. This is multiple layers, again from the Emma Malioka course. You can't access it anymore. She archives them after a month in Patreon. But this is, so it was an acrylic marker base. I think it was scribbled like the remnants of a couple of Poscas. You can see the lines just here. There's some green line, and over here there's some orange line. And then I worked over the top of that with gouache, and we've definitely got pencil as well. So just playing and trying to experiment. Simple color pencil drawing, layering. You can see I've got different layers here, and then erasing different pencils to create like a mini palette. This is one of my favorite pages in the book. It's a drawing of David chilling out after we had decorated his kind of snug or home office area. This is my cat in the same space. I think it might have been the day after. She's no longer with us, sadly, but I love this drawing of her. This was another train ride to the IND, and I think I had seen this and took a quick photo, or I made it up as I was going from different scenes. I don't remember. It was in November. I thought about Folktale Week, and that's as far as I got. People I drew, I don't know when I drew them because I also didn't date it. Maybe on the train as well. That looks like a train table and the window. I think they were train people. This was a church. I sat there for about an hour. They have a cafe in the church and a bookshop. So there's that here, and there was a tent where some kind of performance was going. Yep. And then thinking about thumbnailing. This was to do with Folktale Week. I was thinking about doing something based upon Persephone, but I ended up not doing it. And then testing out colours that I had in my bag. This was a watercolour that didn't work out and I gave up. Added some colour pencil a couple of weeks later, I still gave up. And this is layering different materials over watercolour. So we have some Polychromos and then some Holbeins, and I was just looking to see how they layered. This is based off a Craftsy class that I took. I can't remember the name of the lady, but I really enjoyed it. And then this is probably the first set of drawings from a Patreon session of Emma Carlisle's in November, Birds in Hand. And it was a hand month, so it was basically focusing on drawing hands. So for this one, I didn't put the birds in much. So it's more about waiting, expecting something to fly onto the page. But I really like how simple these are. I like this one the most. And then I think this is one I did put a bird in. And this might be the last one. Just two hands waiting for the bird. I think the bird was on, obviously, but I didn't draw them. And then this is another 22nd of December. So I probably used gouache with this. And trees, we did a lot of trees in the gouache course, but I obviously drew those in. I don't remember much more about this. I love the vibrancy of the colours. It might have been when I was rejigging my wet gouache palette, actually. Some more self-portraits. A drawing of David. Oh, bless him. Self-portrait of me. I don't think I shared the self-portrait recap month because life got busy, work got busy. But these are a couple of portraits. David loves that one. He was watching Bela Lugosi again in early December. This was the train station. I headed to Svola. No, I didn't. I went to Drent Museum in Assa. Somebody was startled, but I don't know what. I think that was a person at the train station. And then these are more from the course, gouache course. Just doodles, really. These are some birds that were stuffed that I did at the Drent's Museum. It was a microcosms exhibition that I went to with Julia, and she arranges the Sunday Brunch Sketch Club here in Groningen. Don't know what happened here, just experimenting, layering, trying things. Again here, this was late at night and I was bored, playing around with composition and more composition and more, and then playing around with some, these are all gouache, so this must have been when I was testing out my, I think this is when I was converting my old Himi palette into something sensible. Yeah, there's more playing, more layering with different pencils. These are the two Prismacolors, lemon yellow and the turquoise blue. I really love that. These are the Derwent Colour Soft that I have. I don't have many of them, I think like 4 or 5, and some of them are left in the UK recently. Again, mixing or layering with these are Tombow brush pens, I think. And then I went to an orchestra rehearsal in Groningen for one of the ensembles here and drew some of the participants in the orchestra. There are more further on, but this is also from the gouache course, Wet and Wet, and then this I think was the Imprimatura, so having a different base layer, trying things out. This was, again, actually this is when I went to a coffee shop with my friend Julia and I was drawing some of the people that were behind her, and again here, although that's a tree, not a person. A Doji Robin after chatting with my dad. Oh, I made some homemade Christmas cards this year and I used, I'm not sure what I used now. I don't remember. This is pan pastel and polychromos, then sans soda on top. So experimenting to see if I can use like a mineral spirit to blend it out. What happens if I've got some texture left behind? What happens if I layer on top of it? These are more of the orchestra members. This was an Watercolour Animals in Hats session that I didn't finish, as is this. There's a squirrel there. You can probably just make him out, but I never finished it. This was an experiment I did here at home with a very vibrant background. It was a still life kind of setup. And then I did it with Inktense pencils on a wet background, something similar. More orchestra people. And then I tried it with Neocolor ones and then something else on top. NC2s. I think I did this wet and then I put Neocolor 2s on top to see what would happen, and you get that kind of textured blurry effect, almost like working wet and wet but not. Oh, I've got a blank page. This is one of my other favorites in the sketchbook. We had gone out for a Sunday lunch and I did David with the background behind, which the background's made up, but I really enjoyed that one. Blank page. Oh, that's probably why there's a blank page. I was probably planning to take it out and put it in a frame on the wall or something. Sometimes I do that. This is my favourite from the watercolour course. I don't remember how I did it, but there's lots of gouache and some pencil. I love the colours of it. That was on the last day of December. That might have been the last page I did in here. More people from the ensemble. Oh, this is my portable gouache kit. This is the Himi gouache kit that I've set up. This is just playing on top. This is more play, swatching. That's more swatching. This is doing some trees, different tree attempts, failing at. But as you can see, when I say it's my most experimental sketchbook yet, it really is. I don't know what happened here. I think I got a bit fed up. Pan pastel, and that's it. But I thought just, oh, actually this was really, really recently, doodling in the background with different pencils, blending them and seeing what I can do. So that's really cool, actually. I like that. But in terms of pages, I thought it's fun to do a comparison. So this is how the sketchbook started. Very minimal, very almost monochromatic, minus this splodge of color, versus the kind of experimental, haphazard, colorful playfulness of this gouache page and that page of color with my pencils. And that is it. I am calling this still my most experimental sketchbook so far. There might be more in the future, who knows. I'll pop the date on the spine and put this on my shelf to refer back to in the future. And I've already got my next sketchbook out, which is this one. It's a Talons square one. I'm already through it. I did a couple of drawings yesterday. That's not yesterday, that's from before, but I'm sure there'll be a review of this one in future. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.